Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Matchday 10. Bayern Munich 3 points on top, 3 points distance with Leipzig, lost against Dortmund. Very difficult to win in Dortmund. Ronan, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. Enjoying this Bundesliga with up and downs for all the teams, but Bayern Munich, we can say.
Yeah, I think that's a return to a normal Bundesliga life after last season. Someone they were winning the title, so hopefully there'll be a few more upsets along the way, and that will make the title race interesting.
Yeah, actually, well, Leipzig -3, Frankfurt -6, and Leverkusen and Dortmund -7. With Bayern Munich, they have an easy game this match day in Hamburg against Pauli. So let's analyze all the games. Remember, of course, leave your comments and press the like. Let's go on now with the show. As usual, first game is going to be on Friday, Union Berlin, Freiburg. Union Berlin lost to Bayern, as expected, but they are doing a really good season and really good at home. 3 wins, 1 draw. Freiburg, goalless draw with Mainz. I guess, Ronan, we shouldn't expect plenty of goals on Friday.
No, and I think that's what has been the case, I suppose, when we have so many teams playing in Europe, because there's 5 Champions League teams, there's Europa League, Conference League, so we're ending up with matches like Union Berlin versus Freiburg on a Friday evening. So it's not the most appealing for the casual viewer, especially with no Premier League matches usually on a Friday. You want a sexy Friday night Bundesliga match to maybe win some outside viewers, but I'm not sure this is going to be one of them, because like you said, Union Berlin are hard to beat at home. They picked up points in every game at home this season, but they haven't picked up loads of goals. They are now two games without scoring. They lost 2-0 to Arminia Bielefeld in the cup, and then 3-0 to Bayern Munich in the league, like you mentioned last week. So this one doesn't look like it's going to be a high scoring game. Union Berlin, like we said in most episodes, they're back to normality for them. Normality for them is not conceding lots of goals, and Freiburg, Mainz played out with a scoreless draw last weekend. So yeah, both teams to score no looks like a strong possibility in this one. Freiburg have had both teams to score no games in the last 5 away games, and the only one that wasn't was against RB Leipzig. They lost 3-1 in that one. So yeah, Freiburg on the road, they don't tend to produce high scoring games either. So yeah, these are 2 teams that don't tend to score a lot of goals, don't concede too much either. So average goals for Union Berlin this season is 1. Freiburg is just 1.4. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. So yeah, total goals under 2.5 is a decent option here, 1.74. But like you said, seems the safest way to go, 1.90.
Yeah, not many goals we can expect in Berlin. Let's go to the games on Saturday. First one is an interesting one, Mainz, Dortmund, because Dortmund, they are so strong at home, but terrible away, only 1 point and 3 defeats when they are playing away, losing to Augsburg, Union Berlin, and destroyed by Stuttgart, remember, but Mainz, they are also bad when they are playing at home, only 2 draws, still no wins. What to back here then?
Yeah, I think it's hard to trust Borussia Dortmund in any match, and we talked about that in last week's episode against Leipzig. You couldn't really say for sure who was going to win that game because of what we've seen from Borussia Dortmund so far this season, but what we've seen away has been absolutely abysmal so far this season. At home in the Bundesliga, they've actually been fantastic. Nuri Sahin is only the second Borussia Dortmund manager to win his first 5 home Bundesliga games. Marco Rose was the first. He got to 7, I think, but he was sacked after 1 season. So yeah, the writing isn't, although it's a good start, it's not a good sign compared to who went before him. But yeah, on the road they have been diabolical. Remy Bensebaini is out for Borussia Dortmund after getting his 5th yellow card of the season, so he can provide kind of some balance in that defence going forward as well as at the back. So last season, Mainz actually were the better of the 2 teams in these matches. they drew 1-1 in Dortmund, and they actually won 3-0 in this fixture last season. So, yeah, it's hard to trust Dortmund on the road. But Mainz as well, they've yet to win at home, like you said. The only positive result was that 1-1 draw against Mönchengladbach. So, yeah, it's hard to trust either of these teams. And Dortmund, their away form is worse. That's the only thing that we can comfortably say, that they've lost their last 5 away games, lost every Bundesliga away game this season. They've only beaten 𝗵𝗵𝐿𝐵 Lübeck in the Cup and Bruges in the Champions League away this season, so they are not big opponents. And Mainz can be difficult to beat at times and have been in the past for Borussia Dortmund. So I'm not feeling too strong or too optimistic about this one, but to look for any sort of value, I'm looking at Mainz Asian handicap plus a quarter is 2.06. So if there's a draw here, you get something from it. Or as Mainz draw no bet 250, they look like the best options because Borussia Dortmund just cannot win on the road at the moment. This obviously could change here in the 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 derby with the Mainz Dortmund connection. But I'm still waiting to see Borussia Dortmund turn up in an away match.
Well, Dortmund fans, I think they have nightmares with Mainz. They lost last season 3-0 and drew at home. And we all remember how they lost Bundesliga a couple of years ago with Mainz. So this game is kind of a nightmare for the bettors. And I wouldn't trust Dortmund to win with, even if the odds are not bad, no, for the gap of quality, but Dortmund, they are just terrible when they are playing away. Only 1 point in this Bundesliga. Much more reliable, of course, Bayern Munich playing in Hamburg in the neighborhood of Pauli, 1.3. Bayern Munich to win. They are destroying every single team since they lost to Barcelona, and no goals conceded, which is something new in the last 3 games. Pauli, massive win. Ronan, massive win right now out of the bottom 3 after beating Hoffenheim.
Yeah, huge performance for St. Pauli and kind of historic result for them, and it's great to see. But unfortunately, I think they're going to be brought crashing back down to earth against Bayern Munich this weekend, because Bayern Munich are a team who are scoring lots and lots of goals. They're the first Big 5 club this season to score 50 goals in all competitions. It's taken them 14 games to get that far, and that's what the board are liking, what they see from Vincent Kompany, the fact that they're scoring so many goals. That's what they want from Bayern Munich. They're not too upset if they do concede, because they know they will keep scoring, and that's what they like doing. So Bayern are scoring 3.6 goals per game at the moment. So if they can keep that in the recent games, so if they can keep that up, and they might, this is the perfect place to do it against them. This is the perfect place for Harry Kane to add to his Bundesliga tally, because Omar Marmoush is obviously breathing down his neck in the top scorer race at the moment, so he needs more goals. So Harry Kane, anytime goal scorer, it's always a decent bet for Bayern Munich, 1.67. I even like the look of a Harry Kane hat-trick in this match. That's 11. I'm going even further than 2 or more goals, but going for a full hat-trick, because Harry Kane has scored a lot of Bundesliga hat-tricks. He just seems to be setting records with how quickly he can score these hat-tricks. So it wouldn't be surprising for another one here. Another big bet, if you trust Bayern Munich as much as I am at the moment, is Bayern to win and over 6.5 total goals in this match. It's 10. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to keep a clean sheet, but I think there will be a lot of goals in this match, and most of them for Bayern Munich. But I do like the look of Bayern winning kind of everything here. So away half-time, away full-time, it's 1.80 as well. But even bigger than that, if you want to go one step further, is Bayern to win both halves, 255.
And Pauli, they haven't scored yet at home. So if we check to win 2-0, for instance, is 2.3 for Bayern. Everything Bayern in this game, of course. And the next one should be Leverkusen, because Bochum, they are horrible. They are in their way to Bundesliga 2 without fighting. Only 1.29 goals conceded, probably the worst team in the 5 top leagues. Bochum and Leverkusen, very unlucky, we must say, against Stuttgart. They should have won, but it's 4 draws already, 4 draws in the last 5 games even. So they are losing contact with the top of the standings with Bayern Munich, Ronan.
Yeah, like we said in the Champions League show, they haven't been losing, or they haven't been utterly disappointing. They've just not been scoring those late winners that we were so used to last season, and that's kind of been the difference this season, that they haven't turned these draws into wins, whereas Bochum are just utterly diabolical. Like you said, they're probably the worst team in the top 5 leagues, but they're also at the moment the worst team in Bundesliga history. Tasmania Berlin, who set the record for the worst ever Bundesliga season, were actually doing slightly better at this stage of the season. They won one of their early matches before going on and losing nearly every match for the rest of the season. I think they only ended up with 2 wins. So yeah, statistically they're the worst team at the moment in Bundesliga history. So they'll need to pull out some wins from somewhere, and then have a new man in the dugout, Dieter Hecking. You might remember him as the cup-winning coach of Wolfsburg a few years ago. He managed Gladbach as well in the Bundesliga. He has lots of Bundesliga experience, but the last job he had was FC Nuremberg in 2023. He was sacked after just 14 games. He only survived relegation from the second division on the last day of the season. So yeah, it's going to be a very difficult job for him. And what an opening match for him against Leverkusen, who are kind of determined to prove a point and keep themselves in the title race and battle for the top 4, obviously. Last week they were disappointing in that game against Stuttgart, but they did produce an enormous amount of shots. They produced an enormous amount of XG, 2.19 XG. That's the second lowest underperformance of goals versus XG of the Xabi Alonso era. And Granit Xhaka, after match, he came out and said it was their best performance of the season, even though they didn't win it. So yeah, this is a Bayer Leverkusen side who will hope be turning performances into better results. So this is definitely one place they can, and like you said, it should be Leverkusen, and Bochum. They have no positives whatsoever from the season. Well, maybe one. The Gerrit Holtmann last week, he became the fastest Bundesliga player ever. He became the fastest Bundesliga player in history. If you're interested in who else is on the list, Karim Adeyemi is 3rd, Lo Sependa is 4th, Alphonso Davies is 7th. But yeah, Bochum have the quickest man in the league. But I think this weekend he's just going to be running around after Leverkusen players for 90 minutes. So yeah, Bochum, they conceded 7 to Frankfurt last weekend. They conceded 5 to Bayern in the previous weekend. They've conceded 3 or more goals in each of the past 5 games. So it's probably going to happen again here. So yeah, the value in this one is going to be Leverkusen winning big. So Leverkusen to score over 3.5 goals and to win by 2 or more goals. It's probably the only value that I'm seeing on Leverkusen win, 2.75, or else my main tip, away, just like the previous match of Bayern Munich, away at halftime and full time. Yeah, 1.76 for that one.
Difficult to find value in these games with Bayern and Leverkusen. So favorite also. Werder Bremen are favorites, but the odds are better, 1.6 for them to beat Kiel. We have to say that Bremen haven't won yet at home, but they had a very tough schedule. And for instance, they got draws with Dortmund or Leverkusen, which is not that bad. And Kiel, Ronan, first win of the season. Congratulations for Kiel, 1-0 against Heidenheim. They had to wait until Matchday 9, but they've won.
Yes, they have. And all those points are obviously key in the battle for relegation, because there's a few pretty bad teams in the Bundesliga. Like we said, Bochum, obviously. There's a few other teams kind of around that situation, and they will be pulled in. But for the Bremen, like I said, they're at home, they haven't won this season, but this surely should be the time that they kind of do, because if you look at the table, the home form table versus the away table, they're 17th at home in the table, but they're 3rd away. So they actually are brilliant on the road. So they need to kind of convert that into home wins. They need to bring that kind of ability that they've shown in away matches back to their home matches. And yeah, they should be looking at a match against Holstein Kiel as somewhere where they can kind of pick up a win, but it won't be as easy perhaps as some people might predict, because Kiel themselves have yet to win away, obviously, but they've had both teams to score yes in all 4 away games this season. Bremen were 2-2 in their last home game against Leverkusen and lost 4-1 to Gladbach last weekend. So they're kind of on a both teams to score angle of themselves. So both teams to score yes is a good option here. 158 usually is a good option regardless in the Bundesliga. But I do like what you said. I think Bremen win. I think this is the match they have to win. So 1.66 looks good for a home win for them.
Well, let's try to grab better odds, although in the next one, Leipzig Gladbach, Leipzig to win doesn't pay that much, is 1.5. As we said, lost to Dortmund in the best game in the previous weekend. 𝐿𝐴 scored, but he's not scoring a lot of goals, actually, in the Bundesliga. Very strong season at home, only conceding 1 goal and giving away a draw to Union Berlin. Gladbach, mid-table, smashed Bremen, and away only 1 win against Bochum.
Yeah, it was a big win last weekend. Obviously, for Borussia Mönchengladbach, Tim Kleindienst, he had 3 assists in that game. It's only the 4th time in Gladbach's recent history that any players set up 3 goals in the same match. So that was a major performance for them and a major performance for him. But they're facing a Leipzig team that are good at home. They won the last 3 games to 0 at home, and they obviously only lost away to Borussia Dortmund, which is a very tricky game. And Xavi Simons being out, we've spoken about it, he is a big absence for them, and it's difficult to replace him, but they still have good forwards. 𝐿𝐴, like you said, hasn't scored maybe as many goals in the Bundesliga as he would like, but he has shown it in the Champions League that miss at the Euros hasn't fully affected his confidence. So I think he can be a danger man, like 𝐿𝐴 obviously as well can be. Leipzig, they should be confident based on recent history. They beat Gladbach 1-0 away and 2-0 at home last season. They have been very good at home so far this season, 3 wins and 1 draw. They've scored 4 goals in their past 2 home games, so they tend to score a lot in front of their home crowd. They obviously have the Champions League this week, but I think with the international break coming up, they won't be too worried about rotation or resting players or anything like that. So I think we could have a high scoring game here and a Leipzig win. Total goals over 3.25 looks good at 1.8, but I think you could look at goals in the first half in this one, because Leipzig have scored in both halves 36% of the time, but Gladbach have conceded in both halves 60% of the time, so they tend to concede goals in the first half. So total first half goals over 1.5 is 210. I think that could be a good option here, but I think Leipzig are just going to score goals against Gladbach. They usually score goals. They have been kind of up and down, but at home they've been consistently scoring goals this season. So Leipzig over 2.5 goals, 2.25.
Let's jump into the games on Sunday. The teams involved in the Europa League or the conference. Augsburg Hoffenheim is the first one, with Hoffenheim playing against Lyon and in trouble in the Bundesliga because they fell into the bottom 3 after losing to Kiel. It's only 2 wins for them this season against Bochum and Kiel. I don't remember who they beat. Actually, Pauli, I think. They were beaten by Pauli this weekend, and they beat Bochum and Kiel. There you go. And Augsburg favorite, Ronan, usually strong at home, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat.
Yeah, they tend to be very good at home. They're 5th on home form, and Hoffenheim are 15th on away form. So yeah, this is a match that kind of should play into Augsburg's hands. But in previous years, it has been a match that is often a draw. Augsburg won, Hoffenheim won in this fixture last season. It could be the same again here. I had a look at the correct score. I love a good correct score. So 1-1 in this one is 8.5. It looks like a good option. The Augsburgers have both teams to score yes in each of their last 4 Bundesliga games. Both teams are averaging 1.4 goals scored each. So yeah, it seems a kind of a game where both teams could cancel each other out. So Augsburg draw no bet is an option if you think Augsburg have the advantage there, 1.63. But I do like the look of just a straight draw at 4.05. It's kind of very tempting for this one because it's hard to see a very clear winner. So it could be a draw in this one.
And good game on Sunday, Stuttgart-Frankfurt, one of the best games in this match day, with Frankfurt 3rd, doing a great season with Masmus scoring plenty of goals, as you said, just behind Harry Kane, 7-2 to Bochum, and kind of low odds to back Stuttgart, a team that hasn't been consistent this season. Is only 1 win in the last 5 Bundesliga games for Stuttgart.
Yeah, I think these are teams that could conceivably win this game. Both teams you wouldn't be surprised if either team won this game. So that's why it's kind of hard to separate them. Frankfurt have obviously been fantastic with Omar Marmoush kind of scoring so many goals. He has 16 goal involvements already this season, 10 goals and 6 assists. That's the best start after 9 match days to a season. Well, the joint best, because Harry Kane also has 16 goal involvements this season, and the only person better in Bundesliga history was Harry Kane last season with 17 goal involvements after 9 match days. So yeah, he's putting in those sort of numbers, but you can't look past just him in the Frankfurt team. They've actually have great young talent in the team at the moment. They have 6 players aged 22 or under have scored for Frankfurt this season, and only Strasbourg and Brighton in the Europe's top 5 leagues have scored more goals, one with 8 players aged 22 or younger. And that's what Brighton do, they churn out these young guys. Frankfurt seem to have taken the same sort of approach, but it's going to be tricky for them to beat Stuttgart. That's the only thing, because Stuttgart are a very good team, a very attacking team. They are a team that we've seen time and time again score goals, but concede goals as well. So 8 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have been both teams to score yes. So that looks good for both teams to score yes bet, 150. The goal scored average for both of these is 1.9 versus 2.6. So yeah, it looks like this match is going to have a lot of goals. And if you look at the over 1.5 goals at half-time stats, it's happened in 57% of Stuttgart's matches and half the time for Eintracht Frankfurt. So slightly less than that looks a bit safer. So first half total goals over 1.25 is the best bet for me in this one at 1.79.
And the last game is Heidenheim Wolfsburg. The season started very early for Heidenheim with some previews for the conference playoffs, and perhaps now they are losing a little bit the plot. Only 1 point in the last 4 Bundesliga games, even out of the cup. They lost to Hertha, and Wolfsburg is only 1 point above relegation. They were better in the cup, knocking out Dortmund, but the only wins this season came away against Kiel and Bochum. Another good opportunity for Wolfsburg to win away.
Yeah, they're the 6th best team away this season, surprisingly, but they just don't really do it at home. And Heidenheim have lost already twice at home in 4 games this season in the Bundesliga. So yeah, I think the thing for Heidenheim is the European football is maybe catching up on them already, to having to play so many games, and they don't have maybe a deep squad that like some of the other teams who are used to playing in Europe have. And Wolfsburg are probably one of those teams that would be used to playing in Europe and have a deeper squad, but they're not playing in Europe this season. Yeah, so Heidenheim are playing Hearts in Scotland on Thursday and have to fly back to Germany to play Wolfsburg on Sunday, whereas Wolfsburg had the middle of the week off, so they might be more rested. It should play into their hands. But I don't see this one being a thriller, unfortunately. I don't think this is going to be a super high-scoring match. Heidenheim's last 2 home games were a 1-0 loss to Leipzig and then a 0-0 draw with Hoffenheim, so they haven't had a lot of goals in the previous games. So total goals under 2.5. Good option here, 2.02. Both teams have scored. No, you could tie into that as well, 2.20. But overall, I think Wolfsburg win. The odds look very nice for them to win, because they should be with a better team here, and their away form is better than Heidenheim's home form is at the moment. So yeah, Wolfsburg win 2.65 looks good.
Okay, Ronan, this is it for this match day. Remember that we have international break, so we will be back in our Bundesliga show in a couple of weeks. Just to remember that we have tipster competitions going on. Now we added even NBA, so monthly Premier League, NFL, and the NBA, and also yearly, and that we are on this new channel, Discord. If you want to join and discuss all the stuff with Oddspedia. Ronan, tell us your last safe bet before another international break.
Yes, the safest of safe bets. Bayern Munich to win.
Indeed. And the ACCA?
Yeah, my ACCA this week is Bayern Munich away, and Leverkusen away for a total of 3.17.
Okay, a bit risky, this leading at halftime and full time. But good odds, actually, for this double against really weak teams. Ronan, thank you. See you next, or in a couple of weeks, in our Bundesliga show. Bye-bye.